welcome to the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. My name is Lynn and I'm so excited to be day 2 of the Countdown to Christmas event. We're going to be sharing inspiration for you all month long so that you can get some ideas for your Christmas or holiday crafting. And in my video today, I'm going to feature some items that are more recent releases, and then I'm going to mix and match them with things that have released in the past, some of which aren't even holiday themed. So for example, this is one of my absolute favorite Effortless Shimmer paper packs because I feel like you can use this all year long. It's very general purpose. And one of the things, if you are not familiar with Effortless Shimmer papers, is that these are toner printed designs and the paper itself is not coated. It's not glossy, so that means that you can actually ink blend over this. If you don't have a Mink machine or a laminator or something similar that can do transfer foiling, then these are still gorgeous designs that you can use just as you see them. And instead of foiling and changing the color of what's printed in black, you can ink blend and change what is the negative space in white. There are 4 different designs and you'll have 6 sheets of each, so that's a lot. Plus, this is a really large paper pad. It is it measures 6 inches wide by 8.5 tall, so you can really get a lot out of this. And if you like to make A2 size cards, you can get 2 A2 panels from this. But if you like to craft larger cards like 5x7, 6x6, it's really nice that you have a paper pad that can accommodate that. So really, really love that. Let me show you a little bit of why I love it so much, because this is the same pattern that you see here after it's been foiled. And so you can see the lovely gold foiling and shine. Now that's just half the panel. I did make, this does have 2 panels that I've just cut in half to give me 2 panels that I'll further cut down for my A2 size card, which is what I'll be making today. But after you've foiled this, save your that sheet of leftover, because what you'll find is the areas that are white, that foil is still on the carrier sheet. It just has not transferred yet to this panel, but you can still use it if you have what's called toner sheets. Toner sheets are basically an entire panel that is edge-to-edge toner, which means that where there is leftover foiling, see all the gold in the negative space? This is a toner sheet that has this printed color from this really nice ombre of pink to blues. And in that negative space, I took this same sheet. After I foiled this panel that has been toner printed, and all of that leftover gold has transferred to this. And same thing with this. I took a gold printed toner sheet and I took the leftover after foiling this and I foiled onto a gold toner sheet. And that gave me this really lovely gold on gold look. So really, really lovely. So where you see the leaves, the positive pattern, that was the color of the toner sheet. And in the negative space, that's the same gold as what I used here. So you can see 1 sheet of foil and I got 4 panels out of it. So I hope that goes to show how awesome these Effortless Shimmer papers are. And if you wanted, you can, even after you've foiled, you can still ink blend this white space and change that to a different color if you would like. So I'm going to save 1 panel and do that on a different card. Today for my card, I think what I'm going to do is play with these golds because I really feel like it makes it look so classy and so fancy, which for the holidays, I feel like, if you can go that extra mile with the glam, why not? So I think I'm going to play with these 2 panels and I'm going to bring in this, which is Jingle Jewels. This is Effortless Artistry paper. And this is another really fabulous system of products that Crafty Meraki has. These effortless artistry papers, or EAP for short, feature a design which you can also get as a stamp set. But what's awesome about these is that they have been pre-colored by members of our design team. So you can actually see at the bottom images colored by and the list of designers who have colored these in for Crafty Meraki. So how fabulous is that? You're going to have some hand-colored images ready to go for your card, so you still have a very handmade look to your cards. And if you are not a great colorist, or you're like me where you like your coloring and you do it just fine, but maybe you just don't have the time. This gives you that hand-colored look with alcohol markers, and it's just gorgeous, ready to go. If you want, you can send this through your Brother Scan and Cut and have all of these images cut out for you. But there's also the option to pick up the coordinating die. Now, what I really love is that there's a single die plate and it will cut all of the images out for you. So you're gonna get a perfect cut every time. You'll have a really lovely white border all the way around, and it's just gorgeous, beautiful. And if you're mass card making or you're making cards to sell at a craft fair, these are really going to save the day because it's 24 sheets. So in each of these 4 different colorways, you're gonna get 6 sheets. That's a lot of images that you can craft with, and craft with quickly as well. But don't forget, there is also the stamp set. So if you would like to color them up yourself and maybe use some different colors as to what you see in the EAP, then you do have that freedom and flexibility to do that with the stamp set. And just like the die, the stamp set has a single stamp with all of the images. So you can actually stamp in one go, color up that sheet, and then die cut in one go. So how fabulous is that? Now, the thing that I saved for last, because it's kind of my favorite and has quickly become something I've used for a lot of my Christmas cards this year, is the Gilded Holiday Expressions Press-tacular plate. Now, this is super fabulous. If you watch my channel, which is LV Handcrafted, you know that I love the Better Press, and Crafty Meraki now has a line of press plates called Press-tacular plates. This is the Gilded Holiday Expressions, but there's also a similar version with the same font, but with everyday sentiments. This one has a lot of holiday sentiments, and there is a coordinating die to go with it. So if you know me, you know that I'm a fan of stamp once, die cut once, and get a boatload of things. So in this case, you can press once. This is compatible with the Spellbinders Better Press system. And then die cut in one go, and then you will have so many holiday sentiments ready. And I like to just keep a baggie just like this of the sentiments pressed out in multiple different colors. That way, when I'm crafting, I can pick the colors that I want to use, and I'm good to go. I mean, look how many I have, and this is probably me pressing this out maybe 4 times. So not a lot of times, but look at how many sentiments I have. Really, really fabulous. So today, let's make a simple card. And I'm going to make a book fold card, because the idea I have is that I will make a the spine of my book, or kind of the part that wraps around the spine. I'm going to use this version of the foiled panel, and then I'm going to use this version on the other portion. So for a book fold, it's a really, really simple fold. All you have to do is score one line, open up your card front, because we're going to do this directly on our card base, and I am going to make my spine, let's say about 1.25 inches. So at the 3-inch mark from the outside edge, that's where I'm going to score. And in fact, I'm going to score it on the back, or the inside front, and fold this back like a book. So fold like that, and we'll actually glue this down. And that's your simple book fold. That's all you had to do. And so there's lots of fancy things that you can do to dress this up a little bit, to make it a little bit of a peekaboo, to add a little aperture here. But we're going to keep it nice and simple because I feel like for the holidays, especially with something as classic as these gold foiled panels, it's okay to keep it nice and simple because these are just going to carry the day and they will shine very literally on your card. So what I will do is I am going to trim. If this was 1.25 inches, I will trim this and get just a sliver that's 1.25 inches. I will probably have to trim it just a little bit, but I'm going to start at 1.25 inches because it does go up against the fold. So this will go here, right on that fold, but we don't want to go over the fold because it's going to make it hard to open this up. So just right up to the fold. And what I'm going to do is, if I need, I'll trim it off at this edge, but I definitely want to trim the bottom here. So, because remember, the EAP and the ESP, Effortless Shimmer Paper, it's actually 6 inches wide by 8.5. So it's actually wider than the height of an A2. So just cut that down. It's going to go right there. Before I glue this down though, what I thought would be nifty is I'm gonna try to actually line this up because one of these panels will be sort of identical because it was the leftover sheet from foiling this was used to foil that. So at some point this should meet up and I should be able to kind of line it up perfectly to have the image continue. And that'll be like a little trick of the eye to get this to look like it's seamless so that the design just continues. And actually, it's going to be really easy to do that because there's only one little part that extends beyond where the fold is. But that's going to work in our favor because if we're a little bit off, it's going to be quite okay. So what I'm going to do is try to line this up again so it looks like it's kind of a spot on match. And I'm going to put a little mark here because we're going to have to trim there, a little mark here, and then a mark here. So I'm going to trim this off and then I'm going to use this portion on the right side of my card. So we get a little bit of that seamless design going through. And then if you keep your remaining panels, you can get a 2-for-1. So gotta love a 2-for-1, right? So now I am aiming to cut this right on the pencil mark. And oh, actually I should have trimmed the top and the bottom because I just trimmed off my pencil marks from the top and the bottom. No worries, we'll just do that. See how it butts up and then the design continues? So now I can just put, and depending on where you decided to make your cuts, it'll be a little bit more obvious that the design continues if some of these lovely ferns were actually centered or across the fold. But I kind of like that it ended up this way because then there's going to be a lot of room for forgiveness. So that is 5.5. And we'll trim this to fit once we get it onto our card. So I am just going to, these foiled panels are going to be edge to edge on this card. So I'm going to start and I'll adhere this up against the fold, but being careful not to cross over the fold so that we can easily open this card. If your panel goes over the fold, it's going to be a little bit harder to open it. And I can trim whatever hangs off the edge if I need. And there's not really much hanging off the edge, so I think that's fine. And then I'll take this panel and I'll attach it there. And so that's going to be the look that we're gonna have when this is glued down. Just wanna make sure to erase any pencil marks. And we'll go ahead and get this panel down. And I'm definitely gonna save the leftover 2 pieces. You can make the exact same card, but the reverse. So you could have the white strip here and then the gold strip there, which I think is gonna look lovely as well. But in this video, we're just gonna make the one card. And so here too, we do have to avoid adhering this over the fold line. So you are gonna have the white of the fold, and that's gonna be just fine because it's a nice solid white border. So I think that works out just fine. And now we just want to trim that off so that we don't have that excess. All right. Now for our book fold, you do want to glue this part down. So I'm only putting adhesive on this 1 1/4 inch section that we scored and glue that down to the inside of the card so that when you open this, it opens like that. All right, so now let's pick out an ornament and let's pick out a sentiment. So I feel like that's really cute. There's a sort of a gold and black colorway. That might be really lovely. Maybe that one. So I'm gonna take a moment and die cut this. And I'll show you how easy it is. See, it's so nice to have these options because, you know, these are just what I have left over from an earlier craft session, but it's really nice to just whenever you decide you need a card, you can just pick the colorway that suits your card best, and then in one die cutting pass, you can get all of these amazing elements to craft with. And it's really lovely. It's a lot faster than coloring the images, but certainly if you have the time to color, then maybe help yourself to the stamp set as well so that you can color it up to match. Like if you're using pattern papers, you might want to color the ornaments to actually match whatever papers you're using. So that's always an option as well. And I in particular am very slow at alcohol marker coloring, so I really appreciate having the EAP because it does make for fast crafting. Okay, so I'll set these aside. Meanwhile, let's pick out a sentiment because there's so many to choose from. So I'll just dump them all out. And you can see these all cut out perfectly. And they fall right out. You even have some accent stars. The little stars are really lovely. So that's gorgeous. I think this is gonna look really lovely. I don't want to put too much gold, so I'm thinking maybe that ornament with possibly some stars as accents. So I think that might be fun. And let's find, look at how many sentiments. So we have good tidings. We have, and I'm picking the black one mostly because I think I'm going to use the Better Press sentiment in black. So we have greetings. You could do season's greetings. I kind of like that. Oh, maybe I'll do season's greetings. There's, happy holidays, love, peace, and joy. There's a very, very good variety, a good mix of sentiments. Merry and bright. Oh, merry and bright. That would be a good one because this is a very bright card. So let's see if we can find everything for merry and bright in black. So here's merry. Oh look, I can do the and in a different color. See, once you have these sentiments pressed out, and especially if you do what I've done where I've pressed it out in multiple different colors, you can start to kind of mix and match and play with that. So you don't necessarily have to use the sentiment all in one color. So I think the options I'm debating between are Season's Greetings and Merry and Bright. Kind of leaning towards Merry and Bright because I feel like on such a bright card with so much bling on it and so much shine, it feels very fitting. So let's go with that. And I'm going to make sure I don't lose any of my sentiments. So I'm just going to quickly put them all back into my little envelope there. And let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is maybe die cut a shape so that we can have this stand out a little bit against the background. So I'm going to bring out just a pearlescent gold because we're going to have the black against it with the black sentiment. So I think pearlescent gold is going to be great. And let's do, I think maybe I'll do an oval. Okay, so let's do a little scalloped oval. I think that might be a good size, possibly one bigger. I do want to make sure that whatever I use, it just fits on this side. So let's start smaller. Okay, so that will be the start of our scene here. We'll have our ornament and the sentiment merry and bright going across it. And we'll see whether we need the actual little stars as additional accents. Let's start there for now and start to glue things down a little bit. I love a card with dimension, so I'm going to add some low profile foam to almost everything here. I buy them by the sheet, and so I cut these down to the length that I need when I need them. And I often have little remnants that I can use. I find it easier to craft with foam by the sheet because I can just cut them to the width that I need. So if I need to cover a large die cut like this, then it's a lot easier, especially since I really like everything to be nice and level. It's a lot easier to cover, the entire or as much of the back of the die cut as possible. Now this particular low profile foam that I'm using, it's about just over 1 millimeter thick, and it does not have any adhesive on the front or the back. And so that's why I'm using a little bit of liquid adhesive. And this is getting adhered onto It's not a super slick surface, but there is some foil on here, and so you do want to give it a moment to dry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my glass board magnetic ruler on top of that as I get some foam behind my ornament as well. And one of the reasons that I like to use low profile foam is because you can put multiple layers of foam, and really just depending if you keep it to 1 or 2 layers, you don't really have to worry about it triggering extra postage in the United States. It kind of depends on what else is going on in your card, like if you're adding anything else that might be dimensional, or if you're adding something heavy. But the nice thing about low profile foam is that, you know, you can stack multiple different layers and really have things pop and have it still be relatively flat and be an easy mailer, which for the holidays, if you are sending out a lot of cards, maybe it's really nice to have some easy mailers on hand. So I'm going to put that there, and then we have our Merry and Bright sentiment, which I can either do Merry and Bright a little bit like this. I don't really want to put something over top. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to have part of it hang off and or be maybe a little bit something like this, Merry and Bright, a little bit staggered. I like breaking the frame because I think that's a neat look. But we are restricted because you do want for this to open still. You can't glue anything past that that fold there. So I almost feel like I do want to go back to this. And yeah, I feel like that's going to actually fit better. So I'm not going to be breaking the frame on this side like the way that I had initially thought in my head, but I feel like this is going to ultimately look nicer, nice and centered. So Merry and Bright. And what's lovely about this is that if you are making cards to sell for the holidays, making cards for a craft fair, or even just making cards to give as gift sets, because I do that a lot at the holidays too, this is a really fun way to, you can actually play with making sets that are different colorways, because you've got the EAP that has 4 different colorways, and so it's really easy for you to just maybe switch out a couple different colors and then use some of the different ornaments, and then use maybe some of the different colors as well that come in the paper pack. So you have so many different options and lots to play with, so that even if you are mass card making, I feel like it's still really fun because you're not really making the exact same card over and over again. You have some variation and some things that are a little bit custom for that particular card. So it's one of the things I really love about how Bindu has designed the EAP, because it's a really nice system for easy and fast card making, even if you're very experienced and you make a lot of cards. I would never say no to anything that makes my life easier and makes card making faster, especially for the holidays. So here's my finished bookfold card. I hope that you enjoyed this video as part of our countdown to Christmas. Join us every day for more inspiration featuring a lot of different designers, not only designers who are on our regular design team, but as well a lot of guest designers are joining us for this event too. Thanks again, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.